You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears. There's something in the air, the dream of life in love, the minds that rest in prayer, sparking joy we're in awe. No matter where your path has been or time will somehow flies, like souls will come home again, true friendship ever thrives. Is this where the magic happens? Can you feel the hearts revealed right now in you and me? The secret is wherever we are. There's something in a smile that can turn a day around. Moments so worthwhile when we find common ground. No matter what the day might bring, right here we can align, knowing that we will be seen as perfect, whole, divine. This is where the magic happens. Let's feel all the hearts, close to me and me to you. The secret is wherever we are. So meet me where the magic happens, feeling all the hearts ignited now in you and me. The secret is wherever. The secret is whenever. The secret is together we are.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Chris McCardle. I am a practitioner here at Centers for Spiritual Living St. George. And once again, welcome. Centers for Spiritual Living St. George is an open, loving, and inclusive community, and we support thinking creatively and living your own deeply spiritual life. We enjoy our values, which are love, freedom, participation, enthusiasm, acceptance, contribution, cooperation, and of course, humor. And today's service is brought to you by our tech behind the scenes is the lovely Marina Anderson, myself as your host. The music today will be brought to you by Alan Stanley. Our invocation will be Star Starrett, another practitioner here at Centers for Spiritual Living St. George, and our reading will be given by Gwen Hadley, and our talk today is by our senior minister, Joe Kovach. So it's time for music, and look who popped up on the screen.
It's magical.
It's magic. You take it away.
All right, get ready, Chris.
My soul is ready.
So we'll sing a little bit, and we'll take a little break. Star will offer our invocation, and we'll come back and sing some more. So just sit back and relax, sing along. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to the present moment, here to a new beginning, here, and I'm seeing life so clearly now. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul.
Thank you, Alan. That was beautiful so far. Hello, everyone. My name is Star, like you said. Sorry about that. And I am here to welcome you to CSL St. George and pray us in. And how I do that is I connect to the source that is within each and every one of us. It is the same source. And so I invite you to just take a deep breath, and whether you close your eyes or not is not necessary. It is the relaxation into the present moment. And so here we go. What I know right here and right now is there's only one God, one mind, one infinite intelligence. This infinite intelligence, I know I am one with. I know this. It is revealed to me, and I accept it. And right here, right now, because I know this for myself, and I know there is no separation. I know this for each and every one, present, now, or in any now one chooses to listen to this. And so in that knowing, I know that this service is absolutely blessed, absolutely exactly what is needed to be heard is filtered into the minds of all who are listening. This knowing I claim as my own, and I invite anyone who is ready to claim it for themselves. And so knowing this, and knowing that this is a fun and loving community, I go forward with this blessing. And I embrace the law of mind that says yes to every thought. And in this thought, I know that all is well, all is at peace, and all is joyful. And so I release it into that law, knowing I don't have to do anything, that the law does everything for me. And so I can relax and know that this day goes forward with those attributes. And so I release it. I let it go. I have trust and faith that it is already done. As together we say, yes, and so it is.
So it is. So it is. Thank you, Star. Here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul. Now I'd like to invite Gwen Hadley to offer our reading today.
Good morning, Alan. Get ready. I need to get ready.
We're ready.
All right. So my reading today is from Ernest Holmes, and it's taken from his book, How to Change Your Life. So this morning we're going to talk about fear for just a little bit. To have your heart be without fear is to have implicit confidence in the good, the enduring, and the true. Fear is the only thing of which to be afraid. It is not the host encamped against you, nor the confusion around you that you need to fear. It is the lack of confidence in the good alone which should concern you. Through inner spiritual vision, you know that good alone is permanent and all else is transitory. You know that right finally dissolves everything opposed to it. The power of spirit is supreme over every antagonist. Therefore, you should cherish no fear. And when you neither fear nor hate, you come to understand the unity of life. So he also offers some affirmations. I realize that fear is not godlike, since it contradicts the divine presence, repudiates limitless love, and defies infinite good. And so today I repudiate all fear. I renounce all thoughts of hate. I enter into conscious union with the Spirit. I accept good as supreme, positive, and absolute. With joy, I enter into the activities of the day. Without regret, I remember the events of yesterday, and with confidence, I look forward to tomorrow. For today, my heart is without fear. So Eleanor Roosevelt once said, and I really like this because it's like the adage, do things hard every day. So you gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You must do the thing which you think you cannot do. And lastly, Marianne Williamson, as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence actually liberates others. And so it is. Thank you.
So it is. Thank you, Gwen. So here's a song I really like. David Alt wrote it, and it's called I Return. These shoes have worn thin, and the dust that covers them gives a clue to where I've been. But now I've returned to a hope that nurtures me, and love has remedied from all the lies and doubts and the shame that seem unended. Now I'm awakening, I stand and sing, I return to the source of my creation, opening to my place of transformation. Now I see love lives in me. I return to the glory of our oneness, flourishing, fearless, free, and fully conscious. Mightily I stand and sing. I have returned. Day after day, there are many paths to choose. Some we win and some we lose. Still all lead to one, where the hearts that tarry there believe in love beyond compare. Finally I trust your embrace and give thanks for the journey here. Yes, I'm awakening, I stand and sing, I return to the source of my creation, opening to my place of transformation. Now I see love lives in me. I return to the glory of our oneness, flourishing, fearless, free, and fully conscious. Mightily I stand and sing. I have returned. I have returned. I return to the source of my creation, opening to my place of transformation. Now I see God lives in me. I return to to the glory of our oneness, flourishing, fearless, free, and fully conscious, mightily I stand and sing. I have returned. I have returned. I have returned.
Oh, look, I've returned.
Hey.
That was lovely, Alan. I
Thank you,
like that
Chris.
song. I don't think I've ever heard it before.
Oh,
And I
yeah, I
liked it
like
a
it.
lot.
Yeah.
All righty. So our global theme right now is living out loud, and our March theme, I guess you call it, is cultivating authenticity. And today's talk from Reverend Joe will be no permission needed. Once again, I'm interested to see what Reverend Joe has to say. Good
How are you,
morning.
sir?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I have returned as well after being off last week.
I know, Alan labeled it earlier. It's magic.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate you.
All right, well, take it away.
Thank you to Alan and Gwen with the great readings. All appreciated. And I do want to give a shout out to Jafan Seeley, who stepped in for me last week. I appreciate that. And I love his consciousness. He has a great delivery with his messages. So thank you, Jafan. And good morning, community. How are you? It's I can't believe it's already the last Sunday of March. It's almost April. It's time is flying. I don't know. It's I think everybody feels it. So it's very interesting to be alive right here, right now. And welcome to you, whether you've been here part of this community for a long time, or this is your first time and you're surfing the web. I just want to welcome you to the Centers for Spiritual Living St. George. And we're going to continue on our talk, as Chris mentioned, our theme, which is cultivating authenticity. And we're still going off of, with regards to the definition of authenticity, we're still using Brene Brown's definition, where she says authenticity is the daily practice of letting go who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we truly are. And when I was cultivating this talk, the ideas of it's interesting when I think about being authentic. Naturally, the first thing that comes to me are all the things that I do that aren't authentic. And I don't know if that's the way you think as well, but and you know, there's no way to talk about authenticity without really talking about those negative feelings. Especially, we're going to focus today on shame and feelings of unworthiness. Both are pretty universal feelings, emotions in the human experience, where we just have this, we pick up this idea that we're not enough, and then we should be shamed for it. And maybe that's some long ago, very well practiced thinking and thoughts and beliefs that we will call part of the human consciousness. And in other words, it's all out there. Every thought that's ever been thunk, as I say, is out there and available for us to pick up. And we choose through our individual connection with this infinite mind what we say is true for us. And you know, it's many people have this fear of being unlovable, and we feed off of that. And then, as we know in science of mind, that which we hold in our heart shows up in our life. So if I'm constantly believing I'm not enough, and I'm not good enough in any way, shape, or form, then those things continue to show up in our lives. Brene Brown also says this. She says, if we want to live and love with our whole hearts, and if we want to engage with the world from a place of worthiness, we have to talk about the things that get in the way, especially shame, fear, and vulnerability. So the kind of, in a sense, we're flipping to the end there. By the end of it, we're going to get to the place to where we want to talk about what's holding us back, because we're going to realize that as we dive into ourselves and recognize maybe the shame or unworthiness that we feel, or and especially the triggers, that trigger those feelings, which are always set in the past. that we can actually flip the script and use when we identify a trigger or something or a feeling, that we can use that then to help us guide us, because it is a guide when we're feeling these negative feelings. They're guides to the places inside of us where we're not loved, where we feel not loved. And we have to start, of course, with loving ourselves. And this is very powerful, powerful practice. This next quote I want to share reminds us why it's so powerful. And it's by Robin Myers, and he says, by the choice of a single word, by a glance, by saying something that is encouraging, we project our evaluations of the worthiness on every human being we come into contact with. Now, that also means that if we're not feeling worthy, if we're feeling shameful, we're also projecting that into the world. And I don't know about you, but I want to project the best that I have to give. And if that's my best, then I have some work to do. It's not wrong, but again, if we're recognizing I'm in a constant state of comparison, of self-judgment, of self-loathing, and so forth, there's a pathway to getting out of that stuck feeling, of that disempowerment, of that dissatisfaction. And there's a path. And New Thought provides that, and religious science provides that. So in Science of Mind, it's one of the primary principles that we are spiritual beings first, right? And we're made in the image and the likeness of the divine, of what Ernest Holmes calls the thing itself. And in the eternal past, spirit made us out of itself, which in other words speaks to our divine worth, that we're born with worth. There's really nothing we have to do. We are the infinite reflection, expression, beingness of the divine, except we kind of forget that coming into this life. And so we do at the same time, while we recognize we're spiritual beings, we also have to honor that we're in this human experience where we kind of purposely cut ourselves off from some of those things so that we can rediscover the fullness, the wholeness of ourselves, and selves with a capital S. Ernest Holmes says, there is something within you beyond all doubt and fear, something which has never been limited by your acts or destroyed by your feeling. This is the only something that can make you whole. Now I read that and I was like, oh, that's perfect. And then I said, whoa, wait a minute. Oh, how my laser on? Let me turn my laser. This last part here, this is the only something that can make you whole. And I thought about that, and I'm wondering, I said to myself, I wonder if he would change those words, can make you whole, because I believe we're already whole. We just kind of forgot about it. We kind of muddied ourselves up. We've kind of chosen to believe something else, but just because we as an individual believe it doesn't make it true in this sense. It makes it true in this reality. And so what makes us whole is recognizing that we're whole. And I know that's kind of like, wait, what do you mean? Well, it's here. It's now. We were born whole. We weren't born missing anything. And that's kind of what these last couple of quotes were saying, that it's all right here, right now. And if I believe that I have to do something, I have to live up to something, I have to be something other than what I authentically am, okay, then I'm always going to be on this journey of needing to do that. Our very life is the life of God, and it's perfect, it's whole, it's complete. There's nothing lacking within us. And when God created us and declared all creation good, there's nothing lacking in that goodness. And when we arrived on this physical plane as newborns, I think at some level we knew that. And then we said, we're going to go for a ride called life. And let's see what that's all about. And I do believe I choose to believe we're going to have a good time when I check out of this life, to go, wow, that was quite a ride. And to know that, you know what, I don't think you can look back on shame or a lack of worthiness at all from that point. And being in education, I often hold a view of, as an adult, I look down, especially on like kindergartners or whatever. And like, we would never judge such a young life that's bumping around, making a ton of mistakes and so forth. We would never judge that because they don't know. And I think it's the same thing I hold against myself even now as a 53-year-old. Like, there's things I just don't know. We don't know what we don't know. And that's what we're doing, is we're bumping around trying to discover what we don't know. And, it doesn't have to be hard. And I think also, I know that the more we come at this from a place of loving ourselves, which is really what this teaching is that God is love and so are we. And when we don't feel that, we just have to open to that. And yes, sometimes it's easier said than done, but we have to start somewhere. And I think now is the perfect time. And guess what? You don't need approval, just like the title of this talk. No approval is necessary to step out of your small self, into your glorious self with a capital S. So Ernest Holmes writes, what he believes stands in our way is simply what we always talk about, and that's thoughts and beliefs, and it keeps us from living out loud. And that sense of unworthiness, our shame, keeps us from living authentically. It keeps that feeling, that gap of separation from our small self to that capital self. And it dampens our light. A couple of talks ago, I talked about putting our light under a bushel basket, under a covering. It's funny, we had to talk about the word bushel and how many people probably don't know what that is. So just under a pail, how's that? So people could see it. And so to reiterate that, what stands between us knowing our worthiness and recognizing our own light is our thoughts, is our thinking, right? As a man or woman thinketh in his heart, says the Bible, so is he or she. So we do the work, right? Sometimes we come here for these messages to inspire us, to motivate us, to jump in and do the work. And it helps by knowing, it's already there. And we could say, oh, we got to find it, but we don't. We know where it is. It's inside. And all we, in a sense, easily have to do is to let everything else go that is not love, right? So that is the shame. And sometimes we have a lot of anchors in that shame. But becoming aware of our unconscious thoughts and the patterns that keep us embracing and living our worth empowers us to step out of that darkness. So again, it's doing the work of, I don't know what I don't know, so let me help myself know what I don't know. We do that by taking classes. We do that by doing workshops or reading good books or even just talking to others. Now, this is happening all the time for me. How about you? I don't know about you, but I'm constantly looking and trying to pay attention to how I'm showing up. What are the words coming out of my mouth? What's the phrase I learned? Was the impact what I expected? Like, I had an intention, like I showed up, I wanted to say something that inspired somebody. Was that the impact or wasn't it? And what's that all about? And so by exploring our shame, our unworthiness, our lack, and talking about these feelings, our doubts, as Gwen brought up in her reading, fear, it helps us reclaim our power. And even though shame may be a universal experience, we don't talk about it much, do we? I don't know about you, but I don't know how many times I sat around my Italian family and we talked about where we were feeling shameful and, hiding ourselves in these, the closets that we keep our bones and our skeletons in and so forth. That's not a regular discussion. Let's just pause for a minute here. Because I said, let's talk about our shame, but what is shame? I want to look at that a little more specifically. And Brene Brown has a great share of this, and I'll share this with you. Where did I go? Did I skip something? Be back, so that makes you whole. Oh, I did. There we go. Shame. Shame is the intensely painful feeling or experience of believing that we are flawed and therefore unworthy of love and belonging. Now think about that. There's like a feeling that literally cuts us off from the feeling of being loved. We can be fearful, like we can be afraid, but still know we're loved. We can be sad and still know we're loved. But shame is something that almost blocks love off, cuts it off in a sense. Now, she continues to say this, and there we go. Shame needs 3 things to grow out of control in our lives: secrecy, silence, and judgment. We need to share our experience. Shame loses power when it's spoken. So again, going back to reiterating, giving a foundation to this idea that it's okay to have these feelings. When I say it's universal, that everybody, somewhere in their life, has these feelings of unworthiness, of not enoughness, of being comparing ourselves and not measuring up, however you want to say it. And as we choose to hide in fear of others discovering who we really are, we're literally blocking the healing that we so desperately are wanting. We're literally turning our back on Spirit's love and grace. It's like letting go of the hand of Spirit that's leading us to where we say we want to go, and we're just like, no, I'm not worthy enough. And that's a lie. I'm just going to say it like that. That's a lie. You are worthy. I don't care what you've been through. Okay, what you've done in your past life, and meaning from now in the past, not your past life, but in this life, but in the past. It open up to the love that is there, and that's the thing that we need to forgive ourselves. We need to get ourselves out of bondage in order to be. Other religions talk about being saved. The saving grace for us is recognizing that we are that love that we seek. That's it. But no one can give it to us if we're not willing to accept it. So let's stop turning our back on that. For me, the simplicity of our faith in religious science is that as I change my thoughts, life changes to reflect those changes back to me. Right? That's what we call it, kind of the law of attraction, but the power of God is within me. And it gives me the right to it animates my thoughts. And we have to pay attention to what we're animating, what we're holding in as true. And once again, guess what? No approval is needed. We can start today by simply paying attention to what's in our heart. Right? And there's so many different areas in life. There's an infinite amount of areas in life that we have thoughts about. It could be something as broad as love and relationships, or sports, or education, or government. We all have these things, our opinions, and as we're trying to make sense of all that, we're discovering who we are. And if ever there's something that comes up and we kind of look at ourselves in a lesser mode, there's a feeling of unworthiness. There's a feeling of that self-judgment and shame. On top of this, we look at others and measure ourselves against them. And while we're doing this, the others are kind of looking at us and doing the same thing. It's kind of interesting. But as we look at ourselves as lacking in worth, so as we look at others, right, we have our lens. So we're looking at them, we're seeing what we're seeing, and we're saying, ooh, I don't measure up. And then we take that lens, and I'm kind of, I wish it was almost like a contact lens, but then in my mind, we flip that lens around and we use it as a shield to protect ourselves, to deflect. Hey, don't look at this part of me because I'm ashamed of it. I don't want you to see it. And we do a lot of amazing, incredible things to cover up our pain. And as we do that, going back to the other couple talks, we kind of put on these masks and we go through this whole charade instead of just giving ourselves permission to be who we are today, to recognizing maybe it's, you know what, I can go as deep as saying I'm a horrible person in this moment, but I know there's love within me. And I can start with that. There must be a seed of love. And I'm going to work very hard to get that to that point. And I'm going to look at what I've done and why I've done it, maybe, and get some help and talk about it and share about it. And I'm going to start ripping these Band-Aids off. Really, they're not protecting anything. They're covering up our authenticity. This protection that we have, we don't need. Because just like those kindergartners that play, they're just themselves. They show up. And when they make mistakes, we say, hey, You know, so-and-so, can you apologize to Mary for what you did? I'm sorry. Okay, let's go play. And we're forgiven. And we pick up a lot of thoughts and beliefs along the way through life that tell us we should protect ourselves. And some support the fact, yes, you should feel shame for doing that. And even as sometimes parents or coaches or teachers, I'm ashamed of you. That's a powerful, powerful word, phrase to use towards someone. And in essence, anyone who utters that is really showing the fact that if I have to say I'm ashamed of you, then there's some parts of me that I'm covering up, because I'm saying, hey, look at you. You should feel shame for that. Don't look over here at this thing on me. And it becomes a vicious cycle, which eventually leads to us cutting off the relationship that we really want most. And that's with this universal source, this presence that we know is everywhere. And it's created everything. And for me, that drives me. That drives me to discover any places that I'm not feeling love within myself, within my consciousness. Now, here's the thing that kind of separates us as well, is the bigger that I make God out to be from a perspective of unworthiness, the further away I kind of feel from it. Like if God is out there and it's this big, huge thing, and it's out there, and I'm little me down here, and I feel like, oh, I have to cover myself up because I'm just not that glorious. Those thoughts are thoughts that hold us back as well. Oh, I should be ashamed because there's this one divine presence. But what if really you are that one divine presence? And not what if, but you are that divine presence. You're an aspect, you're an expression of it. So would yourself as an adult judge you as that little kindergartner? No. You would just love on it. And as the adult, you're going to laugh at the mistakes, because you know that child, that soul that we are, that infinite soul, is perfect, whole, and complete. And you're just going through a process of rediscovery. And it's going to come from love, but we hold these old patterns. And look, God's not out there. It's everywhere. And it's not just a God, like a single. It's everything. It's oneness. It's not, in other words, a single thing that is separate from us. And as we simply go within, if we meditate, we contemplate, sometimes we take a walk, or we're driving, we're looking out the window, and well, hopefully you're not driving the car, but we're in a car, and you're driving, and your mind kind of just goes. You're releasing yourself from all that negativity. And that's what the practice of meditation does. And it doesn't have to be sitting still. You can go on a walk, you can take a bike ride, but just clear that mind of these lower energies of shame and unworthiness. And you don't need permission to do this from anyone, approval. Just do it. Just do it. Start today. Meister Eckhart says, I find nothing more destructible to the well-being of life than to support a God that makes you feel unworthy and in debt to. I imagine erecting churches to such a strange God will assure endless wars. Now, I don't know if he's talking about the wars on the outside. I look at that as the wars on the inside. The wars on the inside, what Islam calls the jihad, the war between the head and the heart. Well, we have to align this. And so it takes some work. It takes some practice to let go of old habits, even when we know the new habit that we're trying to create is far better than the old one. It takes a lot of practice. And there are, there's some groups of individuals that can, that we automatically almost collectively take shame up with. And what I'm talking about meaning is, sometimes we're saying, oh, you're part of this group, and what they did in the past or whatnot. I watched a documentary on the German people, and how, many of them are still trying to themselves, even though they weren't part of World War II and the atrocities that happened, they almost automatically take on that shame. And so, and I know that happens at many levels, even within our own family. A parent, an uncle did such and such, and we're ashamed because of that. No, you have your own light. You are your own light. We can bless them for what they did. And again, the idea is to recognize where we're not feeling love, where we're feeling shame or unworthiness, and then love on that follow that path to where we feel inside ourselves something missing, something lacking. Again, knowing that it's not. And what if instead of, again, of trying to avoid and protect ourselves from this fear and doubt, that we truly begin to dive in and recognize our triggers? Because that's the bottom line. And that's why I love about our philosophies. It really is a group effort every time we get together in classes and even in these talks and the conversations afterwards to try to live our next best life, a freer, fuller life. Self-inquiry leads to a greater sense of self-love. The ancient philosopher Lao Tzu says, and I love this, because one believes in oneself, one doesn't try to convince others. Because one is content with oneself, one doesn't need others' approval. And because one accepts oneself, the whole world accepts him or her. All right, let's see. I was wondering if this is correct. Yeah. And Ernest Holmes, in our own teaching, says we should stop condemning ourselves. It's the worst condemnation there is. And when we stop condemning ourselves, the condemnation of others will not reach us. So a lot of times they'll say, well, I wouldn't feel this way if so-and-so wouldn't say these things to me. But we have to be radically responsible and take up our own lives and go, wait a minute. You know, I use this, it's kind of a stupid example, but I use it with the middle schoolers when I work with them was, oh, so-and-so called me fat, you know, and I go, how do you feel about that? Well, you know, and we talk about that. And I'll use the example and I'll say, well, if I called you a tree, would you be upset about that? You know, and no. Okay. So what about the word fat or whatever they use is making you feel this way? And it always comes back to a place of shame, of unworthiness, of I believe I'm overweight and I'm different in a negative way. And then we hold that weight within us. And then when someone else reminds us, we blow up or we even crawl within. And this is the work. And we can simply go like, I am who I am in this moment. And thank God I am who I am in this moment. And you know what? I can change if I want to. If I love being who I am authentically, then let's all choose to do that and be who we are. No approval is needed. Again, it's not about necessarily doing something. It's about being someone, and that someone is the person that you are within, right here, right now. And so I want to show this picture because it helps me to understand. And what I look at is this picture of trying to show this idea that God is the source of all energy and light. And so here's this projector, and God is the power, the source that's projecting that. And it comes through us in a sense, and we have our lens and we have our filter, and that gets cast onto the screen. And I want you to understand that this screen is all of our life. This is the life that we're living. So the only thing that could possibly show up on the screen of life is what we choose to cast out into the world. And so if we're casting scenes and images of and feelings of unworthiness, of shame, of doubt, of fear, then what shows up can only match that. That's what life does. And what happens is we get stuck. And we're sitting here, we're watching, we're being a part of this life, maybe. Sometimes we feel life is happening to us. So we go up and we try to change what's on the screen. But we can't do that without doing this inner work. We have to clean our lenses and recognize that this power flowing through is perfect, whole, complete. It's not judgmental, and it's infinite. We can cast a small image, a large image, we cast any image we want. We have to believe in that. We have to recognize that, oh, wait, there's some images here of shame, of fear. Let me take a look at that because there's something a little off with my lens. This self-judgment, this self-doubt. I can work on that. And so I hope it's kind of a simple analogy, but it's one that I remember picking up in class a long time ago in Science of Mind classes. And it really helped me understand that this power, this consciousness of God is flowing to and through us. And in a sense, our heart is our lens. Our mind is the lens. And when these are unequal, what casts out is a little deformed in a sense. Yet the truth is always within it. That's the key. And so what can we do with this, Reverend Joe? What can we do? Well, it comes back to one of those very first things I said is to do the work. We can get with a trusted person who sees us for the light that we are, that works, that we feel comfortable sharing, talking. It could be a licensed therapist, a counselor, a life coach. It could be a spiritual practitioner, which we have a few, 5 of, that would love to work with you. It doesn't have to be scary, and it's okay, right? No, to give ourselves permission to hold someone's hand and walk us through. And that's what love does. Someone in love with you can see what you can't see when you can't see it. They know your truth. They know your divine worth. They recognize that power, that presence that is not only in them, but they see it in you, because if God is everything, if spirit is everything, it's source, if there's only one source, then all is projected from that one source. Just going back to that projector, there's only one source. It comes through infinite outlets, right? But it's one source. And, giving us ourselves time to just take a look at that, no matter what your age is. If you're teens or you're young adults, and maybe your parents are part of the problem, go to somebody else. If you're in a school, ask your school counselor. Even colleges have counselors now that you can talk with, and some of them are only academic, but some of them are there for your mental well-being. It's there, and of course, I even look on the internet. I get inspired weekly by listening to certain people on the internet, on YouTube specifically, but I know there's other media sites that you can be inspired and begin to look yourself. Just going back through previous talks, whether it's from me or other centers, I get inspired by listening to other speakers as well. And so it's time to just kind of recognize, all right, there's parts of me that I don't measure up. And that's the biggest thing we could do, is stop comparing ourselves to others as we should be that. We should be them. Take out that should be. The only thing you can be is you, right? Going back to another previous talk, which was, we don't want an imitation. We want you. I want to be me. And sometimes I say to myself, but I don't know who that is. Then that's where the work comes in. I decide who I am. And it's okay to have devices like what we're going to do next, which is say an affirmation together. A simple affirmation in the morning or prayer in the morning helps me to start off with, okay, this is what I want to show up on the screen today, knowing that life is showing up for my best and highest good. And the second thing, and even to break it down easier, well, I don't know the areas that I'm feeling shameful. Like you said, Reverend Joe, I don't know what I don't know. What we do know is things that trigger us. And so even if we just started by writing a list of those things that we know trigger us, like when someone says whatever to me, I get triggered. I don't know what that is. Or when someone talks about a person or the government or whatever, there's a trigger. That starts the pathway to guide you to where we're feeling that lack of love, where we really kind of covered that light up, right? And that light wants to shine, and it feels so good. It feels so free to live our authentic self. All right. So as I said, we're going to finish with an affirmation. And what better way to state? Now, understand words are powerful, but only with the power we imbue in them. So I am worthy. I am loved. I am enough. I could say that all day long, and I'm sure it's simple. I am worthy. I am loved. I am enough. I am worthy. I am loved. I am enough. Right? And so the more we kind of work out our physical muscles, work out our mental muscles to know and put in our mind, it's in a sense, we're kind of adjusting our lens with the affirmations. An affirmation, we're affirming what is true for us. I am worthy. I am loved. I am enough. So I'm going to now choose to close down to pray is what I'm trying to say, to use affirmative prayer. And we're going to state, I'm going to close my eyes and breathe and come from my authentic self and know that I am just feeling the joy and the love right where I am, right here, right now. And as I hold this joy in my heart, in my mind, thoughts of joy just fill it, particularly with this community that I have absolutely fallen in love with, and I'm not even living in the community yet. And I know that's all being taken care of in the perfect and highest and best way. And what I know to be true is truly there is nothing to be ashamed of, that our birthright is worthiness. We are that divine in physical form. We lack nothing that it from it. We're it in its fullness right here, right now. Each one who hears my voice, I give you permission to give yourself permission to let all that stuff go that holds you back. Even if we're not aware of it, we just claim that anything that is not for our best and highest good, we release with love and grace right here, right now. Let's affirm that together, that we are worthy, we are loved, that we are enough. And this glorious we is really the I am presence being lived through each of us uniquely, powerfully, perfectly. And that we choose to release others from our own limited views, that we recognize others as doing the best that they can with what they have and where they're at, as I give myself permission to know the same for myself, that I am doing the best I can with what I have and where I'm at. That I give myself permission to seek help if I need it. That I attract the right perfect person that could guide me to uncovering greater amounts of love that's already within me that I've somehow covered up. That person or group or book or talk, it's waiting for me right now. And I'm open to that. And I'm loving the spiritual community that I'm a part of. I support it with my mind, my prayer, my time, my talent, and just see this community growing, evolving to its best self yet, as we each do the same. And so it is.
And so it is. Whoa, good talk, Joe. Great talk, Reverend Joe.
Thank you.
It's one that you spoke for 30 minutes or however long, but it's a topic. It's work. It's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that just kept coming to me is that we can be our authentic self, but somehow society around us seems to keep reminding us that we shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up a gay kid, the shame, the hiding, the secrets, all of that stuff was so deep within me, and for me to become my authentic self was quite a challenge. And even today, we've got all of these kids, these young people trying to show up as their authentic selves.
Yeah.
Yet our society is pushing them back, and it's very difficult oftentimes for some of these young people to show up authentically when society and everyone around them is pushing them back. And it resonated a lot with me, and it just feels like it's a long.
Well, what we can do, and that's a perfect point, and what we can do, those of us that know and hold the truth, is to be the light. That's why it's so important for us who know better to practice being ourselves. And it's, I can even, like, when I apologize and I make a mistake, and I do that in front of my own students, so that it gives them permission to show up and go, hey, you can make a mistake. That's okay. Or you can just be your goofy self, and that's okay. It's obviously, a 30-minute talk is not going to scratch the surface. And one more time, as a practitioner, Chris, what do you want? How would you invite somebody who may be thinking about asking for prayer, either through our website or just calling us up and asking to talk to somebody, a practitioner?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're here for. You know,
Thank you.
just go online, hook up with a practitioner. We're there. We do know the truth. I do know the truth.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you in the Zoom meeting.
I will be right.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Yeah. Great talk, everybody. So now it's time for our announcements. We do have a community care circle, and that invites our community. If you're struggling or you have someone that's struggling within the community at any level, go ahead and call the community care circle. Their number's up there. It's 435-893-6702. And as we were talking about prayer requests, prayer@cslstgeorge.org. Send us an email, and somebody will get back with you, and we will know that truth for you. We will see the truth within you. We do hope you'll join us for our Zoom conversation so we can break this down even deeper. They're always good. We bring back the talk, and we talk about things that might have come up for us in that meeting. And also our annual meeting, April 8th, will be April 8th from 10 to 12 p.m. Please come and join us. It's where we're setting the foundation. We need our community to be there, to have a voice in the process of the development of our new center. We are going to be meeting in person for Sunday services. Again, we have acquired a space, and that service starts May 14th. And if you'd like the details, they're in our newsletter and on the website. So now it's time for our generous support, or for your generous support and our generous support in supporting you. We have several different options. You can give with Zelle. Zelle's pretty easy. It's a bank-to-bank transfer system. You can always give online with PayPal. The link there is at CSLSG.org. And you can even send in a check to P.O. Box 3132, St. George, Utah, 84771. We would love to know that you are behind us in your kindness and your support, and bring it to us. So our upcoming Sundays, we've got April 2nd, The Power of Vulnerability, Defining and Aligning. That will be with Reverend Joe again. And on April 9th, Cracks and Crayons. Ooh, that sounds fun. They both sound fun, actually. So join us on the upcoming Sundays. Now it's time for our closing affirmation. Marina will pop everyone back in. And let's see, are we all here? We are all here. So I will start. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all that I do.
I am it, I embrace it, and I share it.
Just the way that it is.
And just the way that it is becoming.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Woo!
Thank
Thanks for
you.
being here, everybody. See you on
Thanks,
Zoom.
everybody. See you on Zoom.
Zoom. Bye-bye.
See you on Zoom.